like
Here we
that, but
go.
Oh, he's got his little remote.
Here we go.
that's his new. Woo!
Yeehaw.
Hey Ron, when you sign into one thing I found,
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun, dun, dun,
you got to make up some music
dun,
there.
dun, 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 dun,
Back
dun.
on.
Welcome everybody to the Daily Hi-Fi podcast, video podcast, as you may know. Myself, my name is Chana D. I am the Techno Dad. We've got Michael, the Youth Man, Joe and Tell, and we've got Tougher Than No One, Ron from New Record Day.
What's going on, fellas?
Hello,
Look
hello.
at him.
What's up?
He's flexing back there.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
Who's
got
flexing?
light.
Yeah.
He's got light. Light.
Sorry, I'm driving right now. So if my sound quality is not great, blame the phone.
It's all good, man.
We're not going to blame anyone because it's awesome that Joey is actually joining us on the road. That's dedication. That's dedication.
You
You
got
know
it.
what I mean? Oh, we got some people in the house
Yes.
already.
Yes.
What's up, player? Says Z.
I'm being safe though.
Decibel
Look.
Distillers. 10 and 2, buddy. 10 and 2.
Yeah, I
No
got my
ac-
hands
no
on the
accidents
steering wheel,
tonight.
hands free.
And it's free.
Yeah.
What's up, Chad, Jim, Decibel Destroyer, Z, Scott? I need to pop out these comments just a minute. 1 second here. Pop out chat.
I got everybody.
Sad day about Kobe yesterday. I'm here in
Yeah.
LA, so we really felt it over here, man. It was a
Absolutely.
very sad day yesterday. Still
For sure.
today, even.
Yep. Everybody's
Yeah, the
talking
lights
about it.
in downtown were all lit up like purple and gold.
Purple and gold. Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
Sure.
I heard a couple of basketball games did a honorary 24-second shot clock for his number.
Yep.
And
Yep. To me, it was just amazing that guy's determination, his will to, get something done. When he said he was going to do something, he did it. And so that's something I think we can all learn from.
for sure. I mean, I'd say he's probably like one of the best basketball players ever.
All time. Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
one of the. I mean, there's a few. He's probably in the top 5, right?
Yeah, he's definitely up there. So yeah. Anyway, back to what we are here to talk about. I just wanted to mention that just because I didn't post anything yesterday, I figured everybody was bombarding everyone with the news, so I figured it'd be weird to not mention it.
Absolutely, man. Especially as a father, man. I know that's
Yeah.
heart-wrenching,
Yeah, sad.
what the mom and the rest of the family is going through. So heart goes out to them.
man.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
them and like the 7 other people that were on board too. They have families. We have no idea about who they are yet. At least I haven't heard. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we have, fellas? What do we got going on today? I'm just pulling up, so I'm gonna switch over to my computer soon. But
we got
What's,
questions. We got questions. Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
I thought that might be a good way to do this. Is just like start off with a few questions
Yeah.
that are common that we get all the time, and let's go ahead and just knock those out, answer them.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, Mike, you want to start with your question?
I got to look at it. I forgot what it was.
I'm looking at it right here.
All right, I got to scroll and find it. No, we thought about it just briefly here.
I'll be right back.
Where is it at? Here we go. All right. So what is one of the biggest misconceptions in home theater? And so I'm going to open it up to you guys in the chat first. What do you think one of the biggest misconceptions in home theater is?
Let's see. While they're doing that, why don't you you got an answer there, Ronald?
Misconceptions with home theater.
Yeah.
While the chat's, while they're trying to answer the question.
So I would say this. I mean, I don't know if this is a misconception, but maybe home theater seems daunting to get into, like very, very complex, very complicated. There's so many formats out there. You're talking all these different 0.2s and 0.9ers and flux capacitors and all this jibber jabber. And sometimes even I feel lost. Like, well,
Sure.
how do I even begin? So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chad
Definitely.
says
So,
that everything is plug and play.
yeah. Okay.
Z says your whole theater should be dark.
Mm.
And Jim says higher price equals better thing.
So I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That you need 2 subs. Uh-oh, Mike.
Oh,
Look out.
shots
Look out.
fired,
Yeah.
man. Shots
Oh,
fired.
man.
Well, here's the reality. I don't think we need anything in hi-fi.
You shut your mouth, Michael. You shut your mouth right now.
Am I
You
speaking
need
blasphemy,
expensive
man?
cables for sure.
Man, you know, I don't need a dedicated theater room, but daggum, it sure is fun.
Yeah.
You know,
I bet. Water's all
cool. What else you guys got over here?
I mean, I think to tag on to Jim's higher price equals better thing is I think there is like, you know, that whole you get what you pay
You get what
for.
you pay for it. Yeah.
You know, there is that, and there's also like overkill and just overdoing it and
100%.
completely unnecessary
Sure.
kind of situations where you do want to take a step back and be like, wait a second.
Yeah.
You know, should I pay off my car or buy some speakers? Like there's a, you know, fine
Not
line
easy.
to go out there. And then I think another thing we talked about it before is you want to have like you have a big old like dream of what it is. And, but your budget isn't actually allowing for that.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
so like be realistic about what you want to spend and stuff.
Right.
I like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, to me, kind of tagging along with that is I've always felt there's a law of diminishing returns. And so you can get so far, and I mean, like you can pay more and get a better result, pay more and get a better result. And then at some point, and I think it varies between receivers and subwoofers and just projectors, a lot of different things. But at some point, some price point, you kind of get to where you've got to spend a ton more to get a little bit of results.
Sure.
You know, and so you kind of have to figure out what that balance is. Now, the reality is some guys just have a ton of money, and for them to go and spend double to gain, you know, 3% more of value, that's fine to them, you know, because our money is all kind of relative. You know, we all don't have the same resources. And so, but I definitely believe in the law of diminishing returns. Absolutely.
For
All
sure.
speakers work in all rooms.
Oh, that's a good one.
How about that one? Scott Woodford. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. 22-inch subs are a bit overkill, especially when I see people with 4 of them paying for SPL you'll never use. Well, I mean, there is headroom. You know, all right. So is there overkill
No.
in home theater? You know, I think there's a lot of debate on that. And, you know, people may look at Chana's setup and go, man, that's overkill.
Yeah.
You know,
And I actually don't have like a crazy setup.
yeah.
It's in my living room. It's not dark.
Mhm.
There's no projector. You know, I spent $3,000 for a Bose system, and then I spent just under that for an Onkyo and Klipsh, and got way more quality for
Absolutely.
more quality sound for less.
Mhm.
Look at that.
Sure. Yep.
It's you know, it like what you were saying, Ron. It's daunting. There's just too many options, right?
Yeah.
Too many options.
Begin? Yeah.
And it's hard for people to be just like, you know, going for a Bose system would probably just be easy, right? Be like, oh,
Yeah.
here it is. And it is plug and play, right?
Yeah.
And it is, for what I understand, pretty, you know, compact, right? So, not too many huge speakers laying around.
Yeah. And I think for me, kind of the answer to that question, like I see this every once in a while, somebody will comment on my thread and they'll say, oh, must be nice to have money, or, oh, you must be rich. Far from it, you know? And I think one misconception, especially with when you use the term theater room and you say, I used to think that a long time ago, I used to think only rich people, only wealthy people could have a theater room. And the reality is that is not true. That's, you know, that's That's not reality. Now, does it
Yeah.
help to be rich? Yeah, absolutely. But I know we bought our home and it had what they call a media room. And so it was still they were probably 3 months out from being finished. And it literally was a square or a rectangle room, 13 foot by 19 foot, 10-foot ceiling. It had a double sliding glass door on the right side and an entrance, like a little small double door on the back side. And I walked in and I went, we can make this thing happen. Had no idea what that looked like. I'd never built a theater room before, but I began to talk to some friends and we began to build some of the things in the room. We did all the wiring. We did all the installation. We actually built the riser that my rear seats sit on. I had a friend of mine build the front cabinet.
I wish I was that handy. I'm just not.
I'm not either, but here's what people have to realize. You don't have to be handy. You just need to find some people that are. If you want to have a theater room, and here's, I guess, the other thing that to me is pretty cool. I think you can have a theater room in a bedroom. You can have a theater room in
yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can. I have a one of my viewers on who contacts me on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
And he has a 5.2.4 set up in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Like he shows me pictures, like it's all around the bed. Like he just sits in the center of his bed.
Yeah.
He's got a full Atmos setup. It's pretty crazy. It's like, and they're like not, I wouldn't say super expensive, but not super cheap. Also, they're all definitive technology speakers. Denon X4400H power amplifier. So yeah, you can have it pretty much anywhere.
Absolutely. And I think anybody can have one. I mean, if you're patient long enough and, if you can't afford new, buy used. Build it over time, save up money, take out just a short-term second job, deliver some pizzas.
Uber.
Or
Uber.
do Uber. Yeah, seriously. Like,
you got a good car. Or
there's so many different things.
If you're real
you
desperate,
can
you could just do YouTube videos.
Yeah. I mean, but
in like 10 years, you'll make some money.
Do not do that if you want to make money.
Here,
awesome.
look at Bad to the Bones comment here. I went from a Denon X6400H to 8500H with a 7-channel amplifier and a Yamaha A5200. Now I think I might have gone a little too far. Yeah.
I think you're doing well, man.
It's all relative, really. It's all relative.
It is a slippery slope, I can tell you that. Yeah. Whether it's 2-channel audio, whether it's home theater, man. But I think any hobby that you're truly kind of even halfway serious about, you're gonna dive in, and you should learn all you can, play with as many options as you can, go listen to as many things you can. And just dive in, man, piece by piece by piece by piece. My theater room has been literally a work in progress for 13 years. It probably took us about a year to kind of get it fully functioning. But then every year it's like, okay, I'll sell this, make a little bit of money, or I'll sell that, or I'll buy this and then exchange this or trade this or barter for this. And you just get creative. And if you're willing to kind of build it over time, and you can build, I mean, like all right, Ron, your setup right now, you got a nice setup.
Yeah.
Did you have that set up when you first started hi-fi and you started getting into it?
No, it evolves over time. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he'll be on the Logitech.
I don't know if I can afford that, Joey. That's up there, man.
Oh, mercy. Same thing with our YouTube channels. I mean, when I first started out, I just had, my cell phone. No microphone. Now I've got a microphone, and then I get a better microphone, and it's just over time. Take your time. Don't try to get in a hurry with it. I try to tell people, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. To me, it's not about reaching this end, this end game or this end goal.
Sure.
But rather I'm just enjoying the ride, man.
Yeah. I like that.
So Chana's working a deal over there. Check him out. Scheduling a wedding, probably. All right, let's take a look at some comments and questions in the chat.
Hey, Ron, what is that look there? What is that called?
This is the That's a good question. Now you
There's
put
a
me on
name for that style.
mutton chops. I
Something
believe.
chops. Was it?
Yeah. So Sarah and I were watching some of our old videos when I had the old mutton chops, and she's
Mutton
like,
chops. That's what it is.
Mutton chops.
I like those. So I ran into the bathroom and I shaved. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Dude,
an
base
easy
God,
cue.
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Bedroom is my theater room. That's awesome.
If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
What if you're neither?
Oh man. Hey, there you go. Sound system from 2007. It's not Dolby Atmos, but it still works. I would believe that. Actually, went to NAM, which was a couple of weeks ago, and I stayed at my mom's house, and all the stuff that I bought from like college and just after college is all still there.
Yeah.
All the
nice.
the Denon 4800 receiver, which was the first receiver to add the surround back channels. And you needed an amplifier for that. So there's a 2-channel parasound amplifier there.
Oh, geez.
And a dual tape deck, 5-disc Denon CD changer. The Sony S-Video VCR, that one, the like something or other 1,000, it was like $1,000 VCR back in like 2002 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all there. And I turned them all on. I'm like, oh gosh, all this stuff still works. So yeah.
So you're asking questions, and I had to pop in from the car. I actually just came back from visiting Brent Butterworth. If you guys know who that is.
Stereophile.
Oh, just looking at his card earlier today. Here's the question, Joe. It's up on screen. Oh wait, no, wrong one.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's the first one.
That's
Michael's
question. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Who's next?
All right. So I know Mike kind of touched on this one, and this is my question. What is the one thing you need to do when shopping for AV equipment? And in my opinion, it is check out the gear in person if you can.
Yeah.
If you can. What do you guys think? And we're talking about all the gear: turntable, receiver, TV, projector, and/or screen, speakers, yada yada.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say my answer.
Why?
Oh, you weren't there when I said my answer.
He wasn't.
We were off air, and I said, you said that you should go check it out in person, right?
Yeah.
And I said, you can easily just watch reviews like, the ones that we do, and look up specs and, try them out. There's a bunch of online places where you can shop for home theater, like our show sponsor, Worldwide Stereo. No, just kidding. They offer 60 days. Okay. They're not paying for
That was
that.
a joke.
Anyway, that was the joke. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think you have to go and check it out in person?
I think it's always a good idea, Definitely what?
He put it up on the screen, Worldwide Stereo.
Oh gosh.
You got to be quick, man. You got to be quick with the
When
banner.
you're the host, you can do these creative things. We're just at Chana's mercy, which is a really scary thing. But
Yeah, it's very, very scary.
but it definitely keeps it entertaining. That's for
for sure. Base God said, "Where's Base Gods?"
What is the one thing you need to do when shopping? What about you guys in the chat? What's the one thing you need to do when shopping for AV equipment? I think another big thing is do your research. You know, do your research before you go shopping, because sometimes you can kind of like, especially in the days where we used to could go to hi-fi stores. I know in Florida we don't have a lot of those, and so there's a handful of them still left, but a lot of them have gone out of business, mostly because of the internet, trade and market. So they've lost a lot of business to that, and when the economy kind of really tanked, that was just a real big hit to that because, let's face it, hi-fi is a luxury. It's not a necessity. People had to pay their bills and they had to put food on the table and they had to put clothes on their kids' backs and all that stuff. And so a lot of times they would, sell off those items. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't know about having to go into the store because I don't know if you guys have had the experience of going into a place and I'm like, I think I know more than this guy.
Oh yeah,
that's not very helpful.
I'm talking about like hands-on, like touching it, feeling
looking at it, checking it out.
Hearing it,
I'm here to be devil's advocate, guys.
Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, of course, if you're going to listen to something in a store, bring your own music or find a way to stream whatever, because everybody's doing like title streaming now.
Yeah.
In this showroom, so that's kind of cool. And
so
of course,
basically knob feel, huh? Shauna,
knob feel.
check to see how that knob feel
Wow,
is.
Right.
we went
Knob
back
feel.
there again.
What do we? I mean,
How did
just
it get dirty all of a sudden?
it's just a knob.
Well, it was dirty off the air too, so we won't go there. I popped in. I was like, "What just happened, man?" So
Maybe see how big the speakers are. Maybe they might
Yeah,
not look the
exactly.
same.
You got to see it because
Yeah.
you know, like the dimensions say like
Yeah.
12-inch by 15-inch by 32-inch. Okay, so they're what, like this? I mean, I can kind of visualize it,
Yeah.
but a lot of people can't. So
wait till
Um,
Chana opens up the Cornwalls. You haven't opened those up.
oh no, man, those things are huge.
Yeah,
Actually, they were
You
actually
know.
smaller than I thought they were going to be. Like,
when you put them
but-
up in your living room, you're still gonna be like, "Dang."
oh yeah, no, they totally don't fit in the living room.
Yeah,
for sure,
they're
for sure.
just
I'll have
a-
to like move them around and stuff, but whatever. They're huge though. So like, yeah, exactly, Joe. Like, see how big they are, right?
Yeah, see what they actually look like. You know what I mean? Sometimes it looks a little different.
Jim's got a great thought. He says, "Check the return policy."
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. As your, enforce your rights as a consumer. You don't like it, it's too big, it's too
right.
ugly. Your wife or whoever complains about it, return that shit.
And with worldwide stereo, you have 60 days.
I saw your video today when you mentioned that. That's good. That was funny.
I can't stop. You got some freebies.
Yeah.
Oh
Full
yeah.
promotion there.
You're
That's
welcome.
hilarious. Cool deal.
Crazy.
Do your research. I like that. Price
Craziness.
check.
Craziness. I don't know who's controlling these banners. I'm
making notes here. I'm
Atmos
taking notes. What you should do.
experience. Sorry, Daryl Austin. I just answered you in the chat there. So, you had an Atmos question. All right, let's see here.
Hey guys, is there a problem with mixing and matching speakers in home theater? What about that?
Oh,
It's a great question. Yeah.
I would say the only thing that you would want to have like matching setup for would be your front stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I agree.
Your left, center,
right.
right.
Yep.
Does that work? Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you can.
Surround,
I
whatever
think you can.
can-
I think you can mix match subs. As far as like like in my setup, I have Klipsh towers and surrounds, but I have SVS subs.
Yeah.
No problem there. I'm with Chana. I think your front sound stage, don't mix and match that. And I even go a step further. I always tell people try to keep it in the same series. So
Okay.
let's say if you got Polk audio speakers, don't try your best not to get towers and a center that weren't made to go together,
I
because
see what you're saying. Yeah.
you want that, especially like the tweeter and the mid range, you want that to sound cohesive.
Yeah.
When something pans from say left to center to right, if it's not what they call timbre matched, then you're going to get this kind of
Timbre, Michael.
timbre.
You gotta get that right.
I think
You
it's
don't get it right,
timbre.
somebody will be all over you.
I don't think it's
Timbre,
timbre.
more like
There's no-
timber.
Timbre.
There's no A in there, dude.
Well,
It's timbre. BRE.
Yamaha.
Yeah, it's Yamaha.
Yamaha.
But anyway, so you want to
Not
make
the-
sure that those, can you use some from different series? Yes, you can make it work, and it can sound good. But when all possible, I definitely would recommend get them all in the same series, and at least that front three. I think the way your ears are set up, we hear what's in front of us. So the stuff behind you isn't honestly that critical. Stuff that's coming from up top for your Atmos, it's not that critical.
Got it.
And let's be real about a lot of Atmos soundtracks. Like, they are not mixed well.
Yeah,
Or-
that's
Okay.
true.
that have a representation.
Yeah.
So, quick little tangent I'll take you on. I was on a podcast for Kale Media, and he was talking about Oro 3D, and he wanted to know the difference between Oro 3D and Dolby Atmos. And so I had the Bumblebee demo in Oro 3D, and then the the regular. And when I unplugged, I did what Mike did, and I unplugged all my ear level speakers and let the Atmos play.
Yeah.
In that first scene in Dolby Atmos on Bumblebee, it's all just music.
Yeah.
It's
Not-
all
not-
it's,
not much
it's all
happening.
just the score, the orchestral score. And when I had Oro 3D doing it, I hear shots coming from up there. I hear the
Yeah.
music, and I hear actual sound effects of the movie happening up there.
Yeah.
So it all really depends, if it's a
How it's
Atmos
mixed. Mm-hmm.
heavy movie. Any kind of, I feel like most like space movies are going to have a good Atmos soundtrack.
Yeah.
When it's a movie about all dialogue,
Yeah.
What are you gonna
You
have?
can't expect much to come from it.
Exactly.
Unless it's something like A Quiet Place or those horror movies,
Oh yeah.
that stuff
Here.
gets sketchy, dude. It's
Ron,
some
what is going on over
craziness.
here? What are these guys talking about right now?
I tuned him out. I don't know. I have Chana on mute the entire time. So I'm
Of course he does. Of course he does.
So to answer that question about mixing and matching speakers, I've actually had a set of speakers that wasn't the same. So I had Polk Audio speakers in the front, floor standing speakers, and then I had a Yamo center channel, and they sounded totally different. And even at first I thought like, hey, I'll just use Odyssey. That's gonna change the frequency response. It'll fix it. No, it didn't. They sounded different. When something would move from here to there, it would sound a little different. It wasn't terrible, but once I got a matching one, it totally changed it all up. Like it was very cohesive. So
and take it even a step further. I'd always heard people saying, if you can, try to do an LCR. Get 3 identical speakers, even if it's towers or 3 bookshelves. I've even seen people do 3 center channels, turn them vertical or whatever. I'd never realized the value in that until I tried it and I heard it for myself. It's completely seamless. I mean, completely seamless.
As you'd expect.
And I used to think that you had to have a dedicate, like a center channel speaker to be a center channel. That's not true. You just need a good quality center channel, a good quality speaker, and that can be a center channel.
I'm kind of curious about the rear, because my rear speakers are not matched, and I'm wondering maybe it would be more cohesive if I matched them, or maybe it doesn't matter so much because it's coming from behind my head.
I just don't think your brain can hear that. You know what I'm saying? That those subtleties and those nuances.
It'll hear it, but it wouldn't be like as.
I don't think it's going to be distracting.
Got it.
And then your Atmos ones are also different, right, Joe?
Yeah, I have different Atmos ones.
So you got what they call a Frankenstein setup. It's just kind of like hodgepodge. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. But see, here's the truth of that. Something is better than nothing as well.
Yeah.
I'd rather have some kind of home theater than no kind of home theater.
Yeah. Right.
Ron has invisible speakers up there.
They are invisible. It's true.
No wires, no nothing. It's
no
amazing.
Speakers. Yeah.
Ron has a sound bar in his bathroom, I heard.
You shut your mouth. Don't tell him that.
I heard that. I heard that.
Ooh.
I heard that.
Ron's feisty without that centerpiece here. You take out this thing, he gets crazy.
Oh, man.
Get
we can actually see his chin. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, mercy.
Open up a beer bottle on that thing. Look.
I know we got a lot of comments and questions coming in. If we don't get to those, man, throw up a super chat. I know that kind of flags it, and that'll let Chana, his eyes get bigger when he sees super chat.
That's right. Super chat.
Money. They don't money at Chana.
Yeah. I mean, literally.
Don't forget to become a patron. If you need detailed questions answered, email me. And of course, call in with your questions. We'll do that in a minute. Yeah. But if you don't know what it is, what the number is, that's it. And we also have the podcast audio only on Anchor FM /
Here's a good question from let me see if I can pronounce it. Empitogo. There you go. Empitogo.
That's my dude right there.
That's the guy with the L800s.
Yeah.
You got
so he's
that, right.
He's got a good question here. He says, how about mixing and matching amps? Example, running a better amp for your left and right channels.
That's actually a great idea.
That gets into mine. But
that gets what?
That gets into my question, because remember we said we all have different questions.
All right, go for it, Joe. Go for it.
So what is yours?
So my question that
Ron can go last.
Ron can go last.
I gotta start thinking about my question then.
Oh, there you
he
go.
doesn't have one.
Mixing and matching. You know what? If you have a decent amp, I'm of the mindset that they should sound pretty neutral. Although yes, amps can sound different, but should they sound different? I personally don't think so. Right? But they do. If a tube is going to definitely sound different than solid state. And I think what you guys talk about a lot when you're talking about home theater is mixing and matching, like using the pre-outs and using a more powerful amp, just a dedicated amplifier to offload, some of that heavy lifting to a more powerful dedicated amplifier, and then let the receiver maybe just power the rears or the height speakers. If you're talking about home theater. Now, you don't want to do that with like a different left channel, like mono block. I don't think that would be a great idea. Just for, when it comes to level matching, I don't think that's a great idea. I don't think people really do that though. right?
Yeah, I think
You get
his
mono
question is just more
blocking
on
too.
the like powering
But
the
you-
left and right with a different amp than something else than
Yeah,
the other speakers. I think it's cool.
I mean, for me, I wouldn't even mind powering like height speakers with like a Class D amp. I don't know that you'd be able to tell too much when it comes to those. Definitely for a subwoofer, that's a different
Sure.
amplifier, usually Class D. So you're already kind of mixing and matching anyway, right?
Now, my one recommendation on that is I would rather have a like a 3-channel amp in a home theater environment than a 2-channel amp, because then you're running, if you have just a 2-channel, then you're running this really nice amp for your left and right speaker, but then you're using your receiver, and its power for that center channel. And honestly, your center channel is huge in home theater. I mean, everything that you see, almost everything that you see in a movie has got to come through that center channel. So don't skimp out on the center channel. So if you're going to feed good clean power to your right and left, my advice, feed the center channel as well. Maybe don't go with that 5-channel amp, but at least go with the 3-channel amp. Just my
so they
thought.
got to be married. Those the front stage should be the same
like it.
speakers.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 3 people in that 3 cup,
Yeah, a little
people in that
threesome
marriage.
there.
That's a weird marriage, but
Yeah, that happens
Okay.
sometimes.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
2020, new decade. Got to try new things.
awesome, man. I see a super chat coming in.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat. Any extra Dolby Atmos demo discs? I did answer this in the chat. I did get a couple. They're sitting right here. But I'll be doing a giveaway on the channel for those. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Make sure you subscribe to the Techno Dad.
That's right.
to be
Subscribe to
hooking
this
you up.
channel, and then I have everybody else's channel in the notes there, and so just click that show more button and definitely subscribe to Joe and Tell New Record Day and Youth Man.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, about that whole amplifier thing, it is hard to actually find a 3-channel amplifier that's not super expensive. So
Yeah.
that's also another thing. So if you have to go down in price just to get something, or you can't afford a 3-channel, go with the lower end or mid-range 5-channel amplifier, but just connect up the 3 speakers.
Yeah, you'll get more power.
I see.
Right.
Yeah.
So like even with the Outlaw Model 5000, it's 120 watt. It's a $649 amplifier, so it's not extremely expensive.
Sure.
It's 120 watts into 5 channels driven into 8 ohms. But when you only use 2 channels, it's 175 watts.
That makes sense.
So I would say, and I'm just throwing out a guess here, if you're just powering 3 speakers, it'd probably be about 150.
Yeah.
Or maybe 140 to 155. I don't know. I don't know. But that would be a good way to go about it if you can't find a 3-channel amplifier in your price range because it's too expensive.
Super chats
coming in.
I like it.
Our man with the what are they? The L800s. I don't even know how to say that name.
Where?
Mtipogo.
and M Pitogo.
Pitogo. Yeah,
M.
there we go.
Pitogo.
M Pitogo. We will learn your name. Just
Pitogo. Thank you for the super chat. He says, keep it up.
Thank
Another
you.
one from Adam. I got a question about the Denon receiver.
6500H.
6500H. For some reason, I watch certain shows, especially on HBO. Only the actual show is mixed in Dolby.
put that one up on the screen, Sean.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Where are you?
I don't know, when I watch certain shows, especially on HBO, only the actual show is mixed in Dolby. Yeah, I think that's right.
Oh.
Where is it?
Mhm.
Where is it? Damn super chat.
It's the big green one, right?
Yes, it's like 810 is the timestamp on it.
Oh, 810? Okay, thank you.
510 for us.
Oh, gotcha. True.
510.
There it is.
There you
Boom.
are. Sweet.
That was helpful. Thanks, Mike.
So the timestamp. Cool. So 6500. I reviewed that one. For some reason, when I watch certain shows, especially on HBO, only the actual show is mixed in Dolby.
Yeah, so like basically their HBO ads and everything in between the show are not
Okay.
going to be mixed in
Okay.
Dolby. That
Gotcha.
kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but think about it. Should there be anything? You
Not
know
really.
what I mean?
I mean, and that's kind of like when we watch TV.
Yeah, it should.
What,
Just
what's
turn it
the-
on. When you turn on Netflix, it goes. That should be like THX. It should
Or
be
maybe
all
when
split out.
that lady's in the shower doing what is that?
The audience is listening. What are you talking
like,
about, lady in the shower?
Like the head and shoulders, or whatever. You know, they're doing a shampoo thing.
I know like TV ads are like come in like stereo only, and they come in super loud. And then when it gets back into the show is like all quiet, but in like 5.1.
Yeah.
Super annoying.
And they do that because they want to get your attention and they want you to buy their product.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like man merch. I'm just kidding.
Speaking of which,
so hopefully Adam answered that question for you. Rob, thank you for the super chat. He's got 17-year-old Klipsh upgraded to RP280F.
Okay, so
or
should
amped
he
first.
upgrade?
Yeah, should he upgrade? What should he upgrade first? The speakers or the amp?
All right, so number one, what are your Klipsh? You know, because the 280F might not necessarily be an upgrade. You know, if you've got some older Chorus 2s or you know, especially some La Scalas, maybe that's not an upgrade. But let's just say you've got some old ones. My preference has always been upgrade your speakers first. To me, amplifiers way down the list. I think there's so many other things that you can do to gain so much more benefit from your room, like acoustic treatments, you know, speaker placement that doesn't cost you anything. You know, there's a lot you can do. So my advice, I would definitely look at upgrading your speakers first. What do you guys think?
I agree.
That was very thoughtful.
That's it. You said
short and sweet.
I know
we've said that many
times
times though, right? We've said our whole hierarchy of what they should upgrade first, second, third. We've done
Ron's gonna say something about room, or bring your speakers as close to the couch as possible,
or raise them up as high as you can get them.
As high as you can and then sit on them is what you want to do.
That's
do you have to hang your head upside down?
Yes,
to,
you
like,
do.
in front of the tweeter to
Michael's
get like a
got
good
it.
soundstage. Yeah,
Michael's got
I
it.
understand the logic there, Ron. I got you, man. I got you.
No, I
So
was
look,
I was just
weird,
thinking
but-
about what you just said about amps, and it's weird coming from my arena. It's like I don't think anybody would ever say amps would be last because it's such a like a I don't know. I guess I'd want to say that it's a bit more diverse, and it is because you have solid state, you have tube, you have all different types of amplifiers, class A, class AB, class, you know, so but speakers, yes. Acoustic treatment, yes, for sure. Those would be the pillars. But yeah, it's an interesting question, man.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right though, Ron. There are just less options.
Yeah.
You know, so when it comes to AVRs, there's not that many.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like is oh boy, we're gonna get into it. Like, if we're gonna say like we're talking about AVRs, is it safer to say that the vast majority of all of those AVRs, the chances of them sounding very much the same, is it a greater chance than what you're going to discover if you move into 2-channel? I think the answer is yes. I think that most of those probably do, for the most part, if they spec the same, measure the same, they probably sound the same.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you know, I think when it comes to AVRs, it's the room correction that makes a big difference in how it sounds, right? Not necessarily the amplifiers themselves. I guess what I'm saying is there's so many different things that can affect the sound more when it comes to AVRs, right? So like that room, like you're using Dirac. Maybe if you used Odyssey, it'd sound different, or whatever Pioneer and Yamaha uses sounds different. Like it's just somebody else calibrating your system, right? Tweaking those knobs, and so that's going to make a bigger difference.
Well, let me ask you something, Joey, because you just finished the Yamaha review, and I haven't watched it yet. But do you find that 2-channel Yamaha, does that sound to you any different than a lot of the AVRs that you've checked out? Does it have a sound to it?
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on. No, so that was actually going to be my question. Like, should somebody get this Yamaha AS501? And for me, I look at the whole package, right? And so the answer to that is yes. If you're looking for a 2-channel amplifier, integrated amp, I would say, yeah, for sure. It's like around 500, under $600 a lot of times. And so I think it's a great amplifier. It only does, you know, one thing pretty much, which is amplify the signal. There's no HDMI, nothing like that. So it's just meant to amplify. So they're able to use better parts, things like that. But as far as like, the Yamaha sound, you know what I mean? Like, you know, these these specific sounds.
Right, a Marantz
Oh,
sound
man.
or
A
whatever.
house sound, right? Yeah.
Let me just say this. If I compare this to something like completely different, right? So let's say that Class D amp, that little tiny Class D amp, that
It's gonna
should be
sound
like
different. Yeah.
opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Huge. It should be a huge difference. So I did do that. I went back and forth to listen to the differences. I don't know how much of that difference is like just me thinking that there's a difference, you know,
Okay.
because one's a little tiny box and the other one's this huge heavy box, and they should sound different, right? But I
Yeah.
don't know how much of a difference compared to if I move my speaker half a foot out. Which
Oh,
one would
sure.
make more difference? Moving my speaker would,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a great app because of its simplicity. It doesn't try to do anything fancy. There's
Yeah.
bass and treble controls. There's a loudness control.
Simple.
You know what I mean? It looks nice. That's it. That's all I really want. You know, I don't need it to do anything crazy. That's why you don't see a bunch of audio stuff at CES, because what's the technological advancement there? It amplifies the
Of an
sound.
amplifier? Not a whole lot.
You know
Not
what I
a whole
mean?
lot.
The only thing I care about when it comes to amplifiers is that real power.
Sure.
Is that the real
Yeah.
power that's
Mhm.
coming out of that amplifier?
And maybe
know.
distortion.
Yeah,
You
the
know.
good,
It-
clean power.
How are they
think I-
rating it?
I think back to the days, you know, when we had that Boss amp, you know, for car audio, or that Spark-O-Matic or
yeah.
whatever, and you're like, yeah, it's 500 watts, 1,000 watts, and it's like pure garbage is what it is. They didn't rate it properly, and they surely wasn't putting out clean power. So
Clean power, I think, is what you want to
Yeah.
look for,
Yeah.
right? That's the number one most important thing when it comes to an amplifier. If you're getting good, clean power. Now, if it sounds different, like my Marantz 2220B that I always mention, I don't know. I like the way it sounds, but maybe that's less accurate. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Maybe it does have its own sound. Maybe I need to replace some capacitors on that thing. Who knows? Or maybe it's just the nostalgia of like my old receiver. You know, I don't know. You have to be
Yeah.
honest with yourself and know that you are susceptible to certain biases, right? You get a
Sure.
beautiful looking amplifier in front of you, it automatically sounds better.
Yeah.
So be careful. Be careful with
No.
that sort of stuff, you know?
Especially with the touch screen on the front there.
Touch screen, if you
You know,
spend
fancy,
if
a
you
little
spend
fancy.
10 G's on an amplifier, you know.
You should be able to touch it, man. All your life, everybody's told you, don't touch it, don't touch it. And then now we're like, oh man, I just want to touch it.
So yeah, I know I might get some heat from some people who are like, you know, amps totally sound different. And yeah, they probably do. I don't think that they should.
I haven't heard much. Now, I haven't heard like say tube amps in my setup, but
Sure.
I've owned probably four like multi-channel amps, usually about 200 watts per channel. They've all been AB amplifiers, so they've been the same topology. And I really haven't heard any difference in those. And I've reviewed a couple other ones. I really don't think if I were to put them, you know, in an AB setup and swap back and forth, double blind test, whatever you want to call it, I'm not so sure that I'd be able to go, okay, yep, that was the Parasound amp. Yep, that was the Monolith. And yep, that was the Emotiva.
Williston Audio Labs is up in here. Big D Wiz is up in here.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking there about, they said Orion Gold amps in the car back in the day. You mean Orion? I know there's Orion, like, and there was
Orion,
Phoenix Gold. I remember Phoenix
Gold,
was
Orion, yeah.
a good one.
I had an Orion
Soundstream.
sub.
Remember the
12-inch
Soundstream
Orion
amps?
sub.
Those things were beast.
Soundstream, that's what I had.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
JL Audio made some killer amps back in the day. Rockford Fosgate.
Yep,
Mhm.
I had a Rockford.
Dang, I feel old. I did too. I had the original Punch 45. That joker was 22.5 watts continuous by 2. And then when you bridge it mono, you got a whole whopping 45 watts.
Oh, okay.
Going to 212-inch subs, and it would slam like a joker, man.
I think mine was like one of those cheater amps, like 25 watts a channel in 4 ohms, and then you get it down to 1 ohm, and it's like 500.
but it was real power, man, and that kind of goes back to that same thing. You feed a set of speakers or a subwoofer some good, solid, clean power. Sometimes it doesn't take a ton, you know, to sound great. Looks like we got a super chat there from
Let
Mr.
me-
Yeah,
Adam.
thank you for the super chats. I think one more thing I would want to add to what I just said is another thing that's very important to note is what's the volume that you're going to listen into these to your speakers at, right? So if you're blasting them at nearly like the max all the time, then I think you would be able to tell the difference between amplifiers, right? Based on the power, right? Because you're pushing it to the limits.
Yeah.
If you're not anywhere near that near those limits, then it gets even harder to tell. So anyway, that's that.
And to add to that, maybe we should, do a topic on like protecting your ears and your hearing.
What'd you just say?
What was that?
Protecting your hearing?
Huh?
So what do we got? Super chat.
All right. So Adam, I would say try rerunning Odyssey and see if that helps anything with your muffled sound.
Go ahead and repeat the question for those on listening to audio.
Oh, right. The problem with everything else. So he has this question about the HBO, and it was in Atmos, it was in Dolby, and then everything not in the show is not in Dolby. And he said the problem is everything else sounds muffled and low. My old receiver used to switch automatically. Is there something in the settings that I missed?
And this is a Denon that he has?
This is a Denon X6500H, which I actually have set up right now.
That doesn't sound right. That thing automatically switches.
It should. So I would try to rerun Odyssey, see if you have the same issues. And if the issues still persist, I would contact Denon tech support and see what's going on, because that does sound odd.
And also check your settings. So like if you have it on some weird mode, right? Let's say you have it on like, I don't know, some whatever, there's different sound modes, right?
Those color buttons at the bottom. Is that what you're talking about? It goes through that list. Yeah.
So that changes the sound, right? And then what I've noticed is if you have like a Dolby encoded thing that plays, it'll automatically switch that, right? So maybe your settings are weird for the Dolby setting if it's sounding muffled when those things come on, right? If everything sounds good, let's say you have it in like whatever stereo mode, right? Sounds good. And then, or multi-channel stereo is one of the options there. You might have it in that, and then when the show comes on, it switches it to Dolby. And if your settings are weird for whatever reason, then check also, when you hit the option button on the upper right, is that option?
Yeah.
And then it gives you the channels. You might have one of those channels like turned down. You know what I mean? It shows you all like your left, center, right, shows you all those. Make sure that all those are zeroed out.
Yep, there we go. All right, let's see. There was another one here by Joe. Sambo Joe. Hello, I have a Jensen SPX setup with an Onkyo AVR. Are they good speakers? They're made in Australia.
The USA. Jensen speakers?
Jensen SPX.
Yeah, Jensen, I mean, you definitely don't hear much about them. Back, again, kind of going back to car audio days, Jensen kind of wasn't up very high on the list. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice, man.
I'm looking them up right now. They look interesting.
SPX. I haven't heard them. So
I'm trying to say it all nice.
He is trying to say it all nice.
Was that gentle enough?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the Onkyo, the 686. I think that's probably.
A lot of these older brands though are making a comeback, right?
Yeah,
so you just did a KLH review, and I remember I got a pair of I got a KLH center channel free with my Canon was it Kenwood receiver? It came free, and it was garbage. But the new stuff that they have, right, looks pretty good. So it's kind of hard to tell. You can't just say the brands, because a lot of times they get sold off to somebody else, and then they just put the name. You know what I mean? But those look pretty decent. I don't know
date on there. That's 2007. So I mean, they're definitely a little bit older speakers.
Yeah.
These aren't new models.
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard of really KLH until
they look interesting.
Worldwide Stereo asked me. They're like, "Hey, can you review these?" I'm like, "Nah." And I was hesitant about doing it because of that.
Yeah. Interesting.
KLH is a legacy brand. They've been around for a long time.
And I think the opposite happens too. Like Sherwin Vega was crazy back in the day, and I don't know about it now. You know what I mean?
They still sell. They still sell. People are asking me to review them.
People ask me not all the time, but even probably this week, somebody said, "Hey, are you going to review some Sherwin Vegas?" And I'm like, they were cool in 1990.
You never know. Maybe
that pink rubber surround was just atrocious, man. That would never fit in my living room.
Well, maybe it might take over your La Scalas. You never know. You got to give them a shot.
No.
We used those for DJing back in the day, back in like 95.
Sure.
Maybe Ron, maybe it'll take over your 2-channel setup. You never know.
Man,
All right. Well,
I'd love
Joey's
to see
drunk,
that.
so that's the end of the
Yeah.
podcast.
But I think going back to your question, Sambo, if you've got these and you like them, it really doesn't matter what we think, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Do what sounds great for your ears. I know people
Yeah.
that rock 40-year-old speakers. Some people rock, some cheap speakers, and they're happy, and that's awesome, man. I think it's sad when we sometimes, we get far enough in the game that we start looking down at people that don't have what we have. And I think
That's not the case.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
Hey,
If you loved
I had a Jensen equalizer. You know what I mean? That's why I'm laughing. I had a Jensen, so
Sure.
I can say whatever I want. I own
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah.
it's all
So,
good.
I mean, but definitely, man, rock what you like, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
And look,
Another super chat down there.
Yeah.
Hey, how about
Ferdinand.
how about this? Is there
Ferdinand
anything-
Thomas. What do you
Okay.
think about Emotiva Gen 3 amps and SVS Ultra speakers?
Rock it, man.
SVS Ultras are great. I've
Yeah.
got the bookies
Mhm.
right over
Bookshelf.
here.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh,
great.
is that what those are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
they're
look at
in
that.
beauty.
white?
Oh, you got the white ones.
The white one's nice.
You guys, if you don't get them in white, then you did it wrong.
I've just
So,
never
Oh,
I've
no.
never had the privilege of
I got 'em
seeing
in
white
black.
speakers in my
Oh,
home. I had the
think
piano
beautiful.
black. I reviewed the towers, the Ultra
I was
towers.
also
And they
sent
rocked,
the,
man.
yeah.
the
they're my-
Elax in black too.
Now, here's one thing about that Emotiva, that Gen 3. I'm assuming maybe I guess there's several Gen 3.
There's versions. You can get
'cause
a
you can do, like, the
3-channel,
5-channel,
5-channel,
yeah.
7-channel, 911.
But either way, they're all about 200 watts a channel. So
The
basically,
high power ones are supposed to be 300.
okay.
But,
So basically, you're feeding those SVS 200 to 300 watts. Now, of course, that's not 300 watts, full throttle. But the reality is, you're going to be able to basically allow the SVS Ultra speakers to reach their full potential with that amplifier. And I don't think you can ever go wrong with that. You're going to have plenty of headroom, so you don't have to run the risk of turning your receiver up too hard and cranking it too loud to where you begin to introduce distortion or, even possibly clipping. And if you clip your speakers, man, they're toast. So,
Ron, you like those SVS Ultras?
I do quite a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me what you like and what you don't like. You have to tell me one thing you don't like.
Okay. I feel like on some material, the top end can get a little bit forward, just a little
Okay.
bit.
I
Some
agree with
material.
that.
Yeah. What I like about it is I feel like you get a lot of speaker for the money. If we're talking about just sheer performance from top to bottom, I feel like they're giving you a lot for the money.
how much do they run? That's
Yeah.
the Ultras, right?
1,000?
Yeah. $1,000.
$1,000 a pair.
So I've reviewed those. I've reviewed the Chanas. You let me borrow them.
Yep.
I have reviewed those, the Ultras, and the what's the one that's under that? Primes. Yeah,
they'll like step down or
Yeah.
that they were very similar. So
But yeah, they're $1,000 for the pair. They look beautiful in the white. They're my Stormtrooper speakers. Yeah,
those
I like
actually,
them.
they measured really flat actually, Ron. When I
Yeah.
measured them,
Yeah.
they were like very, very flat. So
Yeah, bass performance is substantial. I mean, they don't hit the lowest of the lowest, but I feel like they just give you a lot for the money. And
Okay.
if you don't mind just a little bit tipsy, just a little bit forward, then you're fine.
I thought the bass, it needed a sub.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Most bookshelf speakers do.
Speaking of which, SVS makes subwoofers.
speaking worldwide, sir. Speaking of today's,
Y'all are messed up, man. Oh my goodness.
What else we got here? So we got some more super chat.
Okay, so
Ron, did
Adam
you have
said Adam
Okay.
had a clarification. He says, I don't think y'all look at the I guess that'd be 5:25 your time, Chana. I don't think y'all understood my question.
Sorry.
I wish I could demo it for you because everything that's not Dolby Digital or DTS sounds terrible. And I think something's wrong with my receiver, but I don't know.
Everything that's not. So it's the opposite way.
yeah, it's what
Everything
the
that's
opposite
not
of what you're
Dolby sounds bad. Make sure, just again, check to see what setting you're in, right? So when you're not playing Dolby Digital content, see what mode that is and see
Like
which
on the front of the
speakers-
panel,
Yeah, are you in pure direct mode? Because that means that you're not using.
the subwoofer.
Yeah, you know what I mean. See what
room
mode you're
correction.
in. You
What's
know,
that?
You're not in your pure direct. You're not using room correction.
Yeah.
So-
So see what mode you're in. Check to see that all the channels are zeroed out and not turned down. I think that's it. That's all I got.
Cool.
Yep.
Could it be
Ron,
the cables?
Ron, did you have a question for
I do.
yourself? Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. I want to kind of I was thinking about what that guy was asking with those Jensens earlier, and it kind of
Mhm.
inspired it. One of the biggest questions, and this was my number one on my top 10 audiophile mistakes, is I get this. I think you guys probably get this as well. Is we get people that ask us. So I have these. It always starts off the same. So I've had these speakers for a while, and I really really like them, and I enjoy them, and da 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 da. What do you think?
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
well,
I'm not in your room.
well, you just told me that you've had them for a while and you dig them.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I think that what happens is we get this like gas, like gear acquisition, whatever you want to call it, where you just
Your
want to buy
acquisition
something.
syndrome. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it happens to the best of us. And I think that the majority of the questions that come my way is, I have this, but I saw you review that. Is it better? And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, heck if I know. I maybe, but
Right.
if you like what you like, then
Yes.
trust your ears. And
That's right.
nothing can replace your subjective enjoyment of whatever it is that you enjoy. So if you enjoy it, then just buy more music. That's
And
what
the
you should be
bigger
doing.
your ears are, the better your hearing is.
Yeah. Unless you're, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
Just kidding.
Can we say something though? You know,
Yeah.
I always hear people say like, yeah, it's just whatever you like. You know, we hear that all the time. But let's be honest. Are there some speakers that are just straight garbage?
Yes.
Are you guys gonna not tell me that there's this
Yes.
like everything, whatever is good to you?
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yes.
whatever's
If I-
good to you. But there's some stuff that is just not. It doesn't
If I
measure
have-
well. It's
if
not.
I've heard them, I think one of the problems I have is when a lot of people try to give advice, especially in forums and Facebook groups,
Yeah.
and somebody will ask a question. They're like, "Oh, they're trash." And the number one question a lot of times I'll ask them, "Tell me what models you've heard." And they
I
go,
hadn't heard any.
"Oh, well, I hadn't really heard them."
I just don't like the
Oh.
red finish.
Yeah.
So you're just
So they're trash.
you're just giving an opinion
Right.
that has no merit,
Yeah.
you know?
No, Joey, I respect where you're coming from, bro. And I agree with you up until the point of, if they reach out with, they already announced, I like these, and I see the speaker and I'm like, I don't know how in the world that's possible, but I'm not going to sit there and like try to argue with them about what it is that they enjoy or what they like.
Mhm.
Now, if it's positioned like this, like, hey, I have these, they sound a little bit bright, or there's no bass, or there's a hole in the mid range. Do you think that these are good speakers or not? And I see that they're whatever. I'm just gonna let them know, like, yeah, those aren't that great. There's a million speakers out there that are better than that.
Sure.
Yeah. From a technical standpoint, because there's certain things that we
Yeah.
can use to compare speakers, the frequency response. We can look at sensitivity. Like, we can talk about specs, and some are just better than others as far as specs. Whether somebody's going to like that, that's going to be up to them, right?
Yeah.
We don't know
Good
about
point.
that. But, how many times, tell me if this has ever happened to you. You go to somebody's house, like, kind of like maybe a while ago, because this doesn't happen as often now. You go to somebody's house and they're like, hey, check out my system. I like it. They got some old speakers from the 70s, right? The foam surround is all rotted away, right? So there's no seal whatsoever. There's no foam on their surround, right? And they're like, I like these. Like, these are the speakers I like. Like, bro, the foam is rotted away. It's not good. You can't you can't do that. You gotta
Okay,
replace
that's
that.
fair. That's fair.
But they like them.
Over the years, I've had so many people that do that. They find out without like watching any videos or whatever, knowing how insane I am with all this stuff. They're like, "Oh yeah, you like audio? Like, come over to my place, man. You can check out my jam." And I like walk into this room and I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And it's like, it's just awful. They're like, "Yeah, you like that bass," and all I hear is just this boomy nonsense. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
What is Williston Audio Labs? Find a local hi-fi shop that sells Martin Logan electrostatic speakers. Get a demo, but make sure you leave your credit cards at the checkbook at home.
And
And
check
checkbook
I,
at
I
home.
think that was in response to this.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what a good system sounds like if you don't have a standard of measuring. It's like playing darts in the dark.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a good analogy.
But the more you hear, the more I think the better you'll have a notion of, what is good.
Yeah.
You know.
Ooh, got
Ooh.
a Goldie.
Big old
Sambo
$10
Sambo.
Sambo. Thank you
So
so
it
much.
changes color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yellow.
the green ones are the cheaper ones. Then the blues
Oh.
are the more expensive, and then
Just have
no,
to-
my bad. Green is $5, blue is $2, gold is $10. This is the first time here on the
Dang.
Techno Dad
Wow.
channel.
Sean
All
is
right.
taking us out for dinner tonight, man.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
right.
We're
Come
at
on
the
over.
1 hour mark.
See
So
you
go
in like
ahead
3
and
days. When you buy cheaper receivers, they don't have trigger outputs. How can you add
True.
multiple amps to match sound on other speakers if the expensive receivers have trigger outputs? Can I use RCA outputs? I would say like
Hang on a
there
second, let's see this.
you can, like, on some of the power conditioners, they do have a triggered power on. So if if you do, your AVR does have external outputs, right? Like RCA outputs.
Mhm.
Chances are it should have a trigger, but if it doesn't have a trigger output, try and find a power conditioner that has like 1 or 2 triggered outlets. So when you turn on your receiver,
Sure.
the power conditioner actually tells your amplifier to turn on. That's one way around it. But from what I've seen, anything, especially newer, anything with RCA pre-outs, like 11 channel pre-outs, not just the zone 2 pre-outs,
Right.
but actual
Or
11 channel
subwoofer
pre-outs,
pre-out. Yeah.
right, should have a trigger output.
Are
What do
you
you
just
guys think?
Are you talking about the trigger output that turns the
Turns the amp on.
Turns
on,
the
right.
amp on.
Because the
Yeah.
problem sometimes is like if you have it off and then you unplug and replug, that doesn't necessarily turn it on sometimes.
But why are you unplugging and plugging in
No,
your amp?
I'm saying if the power conditioner is the one that's turning it on and off,
Mhm.
that might not actually turn it on, right?
Well, if there is no trigger output and you just have to set it up with the like power conditioner, the Furman one I have does it.
Mhm.
It's
And
like
so does my Panamax. So
Yeah.
I've got a couple of on the back. It's got I
for
don't
me,
know
I
what they
think
call
it's 2 triggered
Yeah.
outlets.
it.
So,
So it basically senses when you hit the power button on, say, my Marantz, it goes,
then it'll send power
that's
to the other
on.
2.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the power button needs to be on for that to work. But that's just the same thing as if you were to have a trigger.
Or how about a harmony remote?
That could do it. If the external amplifier has an IR signal or can
Yeah,
accept
but
an
like
IR signal.
do they have those?
Some do. The Parasound
Okay.
one, the Parasound Halo integrated has one.
Really?
If you're
Okay.
using that as an amplifier section only, you can do
Well,
that.
but think
and
about
have a
this:
bypass on.
if he's buying a cheaper receiver, he's probably not buying a Halo Parasound
This
amp.
is definitely true. This is a very good
You
point.
know?
This is a very
So-
good point.
Now, I
Yeah.
did see something. Oh gosh, it's been at least 6 months ago. There was somebody that did kind of make maybe I saw a YouTube video, but they were selling kind of like it's a trigger box somehow, and I don't remember how it connected to the receiver, but it allowed it to kind of make a trigger. If that makes sense.
Maybe it send out an IR signal or something.
Honestly, I don't remember how it was set up, but it was something that he had made. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So it was like an external trigger source,
Like an external box that made the
that
trigger
had
happen.
triggers. That is
Sure.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I
cool.
was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, we're up on the hour mark here. Are there any videos you guys have coming up that people should look forward to on your channels?
Oh
Oh.
man, I got way too many.
I know people are looking wanting to see some sort of Denon X3600H video about adding an external amplifier, so I'm working on that. And I got some crazy stuff in, man. I got some big Klipsh speakers and a 100-inch motorized roll-up screen.
Yep.
And some ELAC speakers.
I'm jealous of that screen. I'm just saying it straight up.
Got nothing to like display on it though, so there's nothing happening on that front.
I'm a little bit jealous. You got those ELACs. I have those ELACs too. That's my next review coming up. People really want to know about it, so it's coming.
Yep.
ELAC debut reference coming soon.
I got a guy that literally just messaged me on Facebook, and he says JTR is working out ? So
That's a yes.
yeah, it's nice, man. I mean, they're crazy beasts. They're powerful. I still need to play around. I'm definitely not the guru when it comes to subwoofer implementation. or calibration, and especially when it's in regards to like adjusting phase. So that part I'm literally learning, just how best to do that. There you go, an ET3 trigger expansion model.
There it
Very
is.
cool. Appreciate it, Darren.
There it
Daryl.
is. Check that out, Samba Joe.
Yeah.
How about
Sound
New
like-
Mutton Day?
I knew a new mutton day.
What do we got? What do you got in the mix? What's
What
coming
do you
up
got
next?
in the mix of those chops?
Yeah.
Dang.
So the Strata 2s, I've actually reviewed those back in 2014. I'm doing a re-review of those, and it's going to be right now the title is Pending the Naked Truth. So it's going to be a little different than what I said before. There's going to be some things that I say again, but it's going to be a good one. And what else?
Hopefully it's not a literal title.
Maybe it
no.
is. Maybe it is, and maybe it is, Michael. We're gonna
Hope not.
we're gonna find out.
Naked mutton.
Yeah, so I got the Strata 2s, and then long overdue. I'm working on the NADM10, which I've been thoroughly enjoying. So those two are going to be the next review.
Stop
pieces
being a
that I have
wuss
out.
and release that video, Ron.
See, there he is. There's my boy.
He just
There's
called
my
you
you
boy.
wanted
out.
to hear right there, huh?
There's
called
my
you out.
boy. Yeah,
A little while.
but hey, I do want to mention just a quick shout out to Mikey. You released a pretty interesting video. I haven't watched it yet. That's full disclosure, but
Yeah.
the title caught my attention. It's in like really 50 Klipsh speakers you've owned over
Yeah.
the years. That's crazy, man.
And that's over. And I did a little kind of photo montage at the beginning, and
That was pretty cool.
literally I just went back and I've got literally thousands of photos, and most of them are of Klipsh, and I have
That's
just
crazy.
owned a ton. And here's the reality.
He's a horny guy.
No, the reality is, when I started this audio journey 13 years ago, when I started building my home theater, I didn't have a whole lot of money, and so I was constantly looking at Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, OfferUp, Let Go, all those things. And actually 13 years ago, it was mostly just Craigslist. That's all we had. I even had a Craigslist app that would notify me anytime somebody posted Klipsh. And so it'd go ding on my phone. I'd look at it and I'd be like, Klipsh, oh, that's an awesome deal, because I knew Klipsh and knew what they were worth. And I would get on, I'd type them, hey, I can come pick them up right now. And I always had money, just a little bit of money set aside. When they were sweet, what I call youth man deals, I would go snag those jokers, pick them up. I had a pair of Klipsh horns, which is Klipsh's kind of like one of their flagship speakers. I had a chance to buy, a message popped up on my phone. I replied to it. It was $200 for a pair of Klipsh horns. $200.
What?
The guy, I promise you, the lady, I'm sitting here texting her back and forth. My heart's pounding. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where I'm going to put Klipsh horns. I don't even have the room, but I'm buying them because they're only $200, And if I end up selling them, I'll sell them for $2,000.
Yeah.
Mike,
I mean, literally.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I
Yes,
keep
you do.
thinking about, yeah, I do. I do mean to.
Yeah.
So have you tried
Yeah.
a proper just 2-channel tube amp with La Scalas?
I haven't.
Because-
No. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
how do we kick Michael out of daily hi-fi, guys? How do we do
Man,
it?
can I at least be in weekly hi-fi or something, or monthly
Yes.
hi-fi?
Think about it. We've got to do that. We've
Yeah.
got to do that.
Oh,
I
that'd be
think it'd
cool, man.
Oh,
I just need to.
Hopefully we get some other guests in the future ones. I've been
Yeah.
talking to a few of these guys that I would love to have on our show.
yeah.
So
Yeah, of
stay tuned for that.
We got
You
some
know where I
irons
went
in
today.
the fire. We got some
Hey,
irons in the fire.
I see a question here. Somebody asked if I've heard some Klipsh like in ceiling. I have not.
Yeah.
I think we
I
asked
have
a few people. You had anyone know? Yes,
I have.
Mike,
you have.
I
one?
have. Yeah, I have
Okay.
them. So what was
Alright.
the question? How do they sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, again, kind of that. I don't know what other ones sound like because I've only had my in ceiling, so I can't say, hey, these are amazing compared to this. I can just tell you they're amazing compared to what I hear.
Mhm.
They're 8-inch drivers, so they're massive. I think everything in my room is kind of big, but there's 4 of them, so I've got a great immersive sound from the upper height Atmos speakers. So, but yeah,
There's
I
a
think they're
question
great.
here. We got to wrap up real soon, but the head SN, it says he was asking about TV. He says it has a 10-year-old TV, LG TV that needs to be upgraded. And I know Chana wants to get in on that because he's the TV expert over
Oh
here.
man.
But he's been teaching me. He's been
Oh,
teaching
yeah.
me a few things. You know what?
For sure.
You know, maybe we went
For
to Best
sure.
Buy and recently, and he showed me some different stuff. So I would say, you know, you have to consider, you know, where you're going to be using them, right? So if you're going to be using them in a dark room, I think, and if you have the money to spend, OLED, right? You get those deep dark blacks that you can only get with OLED, but it doesn't get as bright as some of the LED ones. Now, am I saying this right? I'm trying.
Yeah.
Some of the new LED technology is getting very interesting because they do they're getting to a point where they're starting to get those deep blacks using different types of technologies. TCL has their mini LED.
Yep.
I saw Hisense has some dual layer. So there's a bunch of new stuff coming up that hopefully you'll be able to get those deep dark blacks and really bright screen too, right? So you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Both, yeah.
Right? You know, 1,000+ nits, or we saw some 4,000 nit ones over there at CES.
Oh man, I know.
So-
I'm still editing that video.
Oh, my eyeballs.
Yeah, no, it's
that
crazy.
thing-
4,000 nits. It was bright.
So yeah,
Bright
a
as
lot
all
of
hell.
cool stuff coming down the line, and the prices just keep going
The more
down, lower and lower.
the more the Chinese manufacturers come in and start making better and better TVs, then the price just starts to drop. And what I call the big three, Samsung, Sony, LG, are going to have to actually have better TVs in that pricing segment to compete with the Chinese and Korean and other manufacturers. I don't.
TCL is all up in that
They're
mix.
not all Chinese, but TCL is doing fantastic job on that front.
They're killing it.
Yeah.
I won't use the term y'all, but saying the other day.
Samba Joe, thank you again for the super chat. Can you use studio monitors for home theater?
Now that's like powered monitors.
Yeah, and
Who wants that
here's
one?
That's gonna be harder.
my cousin tried. Okay, he had a Bryant Pre-Pro, and I'm like, I walked over to his, or I went to his house. I'm like, what the heck? And he had studio monitors, out in his living room. I was like, what are you powering this with? He's like, oh, they're self-powered, but it's not really working with that Marantz. And I'm like, no,
Yeah,
I would imagine
I wouldn't expect it to.
But I mean, if you can get it to work, here's the issue: you got to send 2 wires to that speaker, into every speaker. You got power and signal, so you're kind of making the job for yourself a little bit harder. And a lot of studio monitors, like the KRKs I'm looking at right now, are near field. Like you're meant to be sitting no more than 2 feet
3
away.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're, sitting 10, 8 to 10 feet away, probably not a good idea. You guys, what do you guys think?
I'm curious what Ron thinks.
I got to do a little research on your near field comment, but I think I agree with you.
I just think it's.
Well,
I think the bigger issue is in the volume too.
Here's the deal. I totally agree with them that, like, why would you go through the trouble of all of those cables and all those wires and finding power to each and every single one? It just seems like a mess. So, yeah.
So yeah, you could, but you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
You could, but you
can.
There's no reason why it wouldn't work, right? So near field speakers can work in a living room. I've done it, but they're not made for that, right? They're not optimized for that listening position. So I don't know. Maybe find the right tool for the job, right?
Now with the studio monitors, wouldn't you have to send an unpowered signal like a pre-out?
Yes.
Yeah,
because you can't send it a speaker wire,
right?
Because now you're putting power into a powered speaker, and that's not good.
Yeah,
right. They only.
It's
usually a multi-jack, meaning a balanced XLR or balanced TRS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ideally, I don't think that's the best option. I think you've got a lot of great options out there that are just passive speakers that do not require, that don't have a built-in amplifier with it. I just think you're complicating things.
We got to wrap up now.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
That's right. That's
Good
right.
stuff. Great questions,
Good
guys.
show.
Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you, everybody, for these.
Chana, thanks for hosting it.
Appreciate it. Hey, man, I love hosting.
How about this next week? We had to start a little bit later. Joe was running late, so we'll blame it on him tonight. It's all good. Glad you guys could join in with us. But next week, whose channel is it going to be on?
I believe I'm up.
All right, cool.
All
So
right.
next week, Make sure you're subscribed to Tougher Than Techno Grandpa. If you search for that on YouTube, I'm not sure you're going to find it. So you might want to look up New Record Day.
Yeah, that's the old name. The old name, New Record
Yeah,
Day.
this is the new brand. I think this is the new brand.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
This is the new branding.
I'm kind of feeling it, you know.
Right.
New Record Day. Just make sure you do that. New Record
Unsubscribe from New Record Day. I love it, dude.
I love being the host.
Well, guys, it's always a blast. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Oh, there's the music.
Yeah, we had to
There it
like
is.
make it up earlier. We're like, do. Joe wasn't here yet.
All right, guys. Take care.
Later, man. It's always a blast.
Bye, fellas. Peace.